Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu ala rasulillah. It's a joyous day, it's our day of celebration. And we really only have two celebrations in the year. So don't be shy, don't be embarrassed to be loud and proud of your faith. I like the fact that you guys are dressed in all different colors, it's beautiful. Most people in Texas don't dress this way, but there's nothing wrong with being different. We have a lot to be proud of. We have a lot to be excited about. We have a lot to celebrate. The beautiful thing about our faith is that we celebrate good deeds with good deeds. Those who did Hajj, and those of us who fasted yesterday, those who made dua during Arafah, we celebrate those acts of worship with acts of worship, which is prayer and takbirat. It's beautiful. We fasted during the month of Ramadan, which is an act of worship, and then we celebrate the end of that act of worship with an act of worship. And of course, those who will be slaughtering as well, and those who pay the zakah at the first Eid. That is our purpose in life. It is to worship Allah, and we celebrate that by worshiping Allah. Our deen is something to be proud of because it fixes, improves, develops the individual, the human being. And it brings families together, maintains families in a time where families are being ripped apart and are struggling to stay together. It takes care of the individual, maintains the family, it rectifies and improves, it gives meaning and structure to society, and it uplifts all of humanity. That's our deen, something to be proud of. Absolutely, we are proud of the fact that we are Muslim. It's a blessing from Allah. It's good for the individual, good for the family, good for society, and good for humanity. What is there to be ashamed about? We know that we love everybody. We know that we are loving, peaceful people. We know that we want good for everybody. But there are those who don't like us. But that's okay, because there was nobody in human history that was liked and loved by everybody. The prophets sacrificed everything for their people, asked nothing of their people, and many of them, if not all of them, were attacked, insulted, criticized, bullied, ridiculed, even killed by their own people. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahi alhamd. We're proud of our deen. We're proud of our history. Starting from Adam alayhi salam and all the prophets, those are our prophets. Those are prophets of Islam, and every single one of them has a whole long list of lessons that we can learn that benefit us even in modern times, quote unquote modern times. The 21st century. Islam applies in the 21st century as it will apply in the 31st century. These things are timeless, so study the prophets. We're proud of our history, we're proud of the companions. They gave up everything. Allah gave them the dunya and the akhirah. He gave them everything in this life. They ran the world, and Allah's giving them paradise. Because they had their priorities straight. They had a vision, they had a mission, they had goals, they had values, they had principles. People have principles. We look up to them. And all those centuries of people that were not prophets and not companions, so we can't make that excuse. They were ordinary human beings with plenty of faults and plenty of flaws, and they committed sins, and everybody commits sins. We have centuries of men and women that built universities and built hospitals. They were beacons of light for all of humanity. Not just the Muslim world, which is across multiple continents, but even the continents which people didn't know about Islam or hated the Muslims for whatever reason they hated them, they still benefited from them. Who doesn't benefit from the top hospital? If you have an opportunity to go to the top hospital, who's not going to go to the best university? If you can get accepted to the best university, you're going to go, regardless of the ideology, the lifestyle, the religion of those people. So at a time that was our history, something to be proud of. And in modern times, there might be a lot to be anxious and depressed about, from the Uyghur and the Kashmiris and the Rohingya, the refugee crises around the world. A lot of them are Muslim. The situation of the Syrians and the Yemenis and the Palestinians, the list goes on and on. And of course our African American brothers and sisters and our Latino brothers and sisters, those of them that are Muslim and non-Muslim, and of course our own quote-unquote immigrant Muslim community, we're constantly bullied and harassed in the masjid and at home and at work and at the airports. Despite all that, we're going to keep going. We don't need anybody's approval. No one has to like us. We love everybody, and we know this. We might be the most peaceful people on the planet, and we are, and that's a fact. And I'm not just saying it because we're Muslim. Everyone knows it. We're role model citizens, and all the facts and statistics prove it. But we're not going to stop until people like us and approve us and give us the yes. We're not going after anyone's approval. We're self-motivated, inshallah. Trying to get the good deeds in this short window of life. We're trying to please Allah, and only Allah. We don't need anybody else. Allah tells us to go out and to call people to Islam. We don't need to increase the membership of our mosque. That's not why we give da'wah. And hopefully it's not for our own ego. But people need the faith, and we need the good deeds. And when you serve other people, when we feed the homeless, it's not for the PR and for the marketing. It's not for the media. It's for us. And when we serve other people, we know that we're more in need of those good deeds than they are in need of our service. But we're going to serve people, and we're going to call people to Islam, and we're going to continue to build our families and build up our tribes and build up our masajid and our institutions. We're going to continue to do all this, whether people like us or hate us. We know that this deen, this faith, is good for us and is good for everybody. We're not here against anyone. It's not in group and out group. It's not us versus the world. It's us for the world. We are Muslims for humanity. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahi alhamd. I want to end by reminding you all that the Prophet ﷺ used to advise the men of the community with regard to the women and the children and the families of the community. And we're living in a time, not to be overly dramatic, but in human history, families had never had this many forces acting against them. There hasn't been this many things ripping apart at families and at marriages. And I could be wrong and I don't want to be negative for sure, but it's possible that we hear more of divorces than marriages. I'm not here an expert on the topic, I'm very young, I'm not going to tell you how to be the best father or husband. And may Allah bless all the fathers and husbands and wives and mothers in our community and make it easy for them. Undoubtedly, it's very, very challenging. But the Prophet ﷺ used to advise husbands, say, take care of your wives, treat them well, protect them, lead them, teach them, invest in them. And take care of your children. And that's something I'm a little bit more confident speaking about as a youth director. I've dealt with hundreds, if not thousands. You see that unfortunately, we'll try to end on a positive note, but a little bit of just sharing this. It's an opportunity. I don't get to see you guys all the time. I've seen very few of the hundreds of families that I've met practicing good Muslim families, among the best families on the planet. Very few of them, the kids and the parents are actually on the same page, actually not even on the same page, that they're actually even communicating. They have a healthy discussion, that they even look at each other or talk to each other. I'm not talking about the fact that they agree on everything. In fact, no two people in human history have ever agreed on everything, or really on anything. So to expect parents and kids are going to agree, no. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to disagree in a healthy manner. But I'm seeing very few families, the generations are even speaking to each other, or even sitting together, even trying to look at each other, and trying to understand it from each other's perspectives. So in this short few seconds, I just want to drop that seed. I want to let you know, as parents, starting from you, because you're supposed to lead, a father, try your best to sit down with your kids, even though they're annoying, even though they don't listen to you, and you deserve a lot better. They absolutely should respect you, and of course the deen says that. But you try your best to listen to them, to try to understand it from their point of view, and you probably won't. And they don't understand it from your point of view, but you try. Why? Because the shaitan wants to rip families apart. It's war. It's war. It's jihad. It's spiritual, it's mental, it's physical, it's emotional, it's psychological. It is probably the challenge of our times. Try your best to listen to your kids. Doesn't mean you agree to them. I'm not saying listen as in you obey them. Yes, they're supposed to obey you. But you can listen to them, show them that you care. Of course you care. You sacrifice everything for them. But they've also been listening to all the nonsense, and they've been, inundated by all the ideas and the lifestyles and the messaging in our culture. And it's doing its best to separate generations from each other, to sell more to the kids. Right? It's money first. It's not about values and principles. Maintaining the family is not profitable. So think about it. Inshallah, you'll do your best to take on this very serious challenge in this jihad of trying to be the ideal father and husband and to lead your family. Because it's the individual, it's the family, then it's the community, the society, and the world. There's no community and there's no society without the family. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahi alhamd. What do you do if, like me, you sin day and night? You sin every day and you have so many flaws and mistakes. Some of them that people know, but most of them people don't know. They look at you, you can speak well, you look good, you have this job, you're an engineer, doctor, lawyer, whatever. You dress well, you have a good car, you go to a good... Your life seems perfect, but you have sins and you have mistakes and you have all sorts of spiritual demons and you're struggling with all the whisperings of shaitan. First of all, congratulations, you're human. That's everybody. It's not the things that everybody wants to introduce about themselves, that these are the issues they have. No, people want to introduce their best self. That's natural. But know that you're human, it's not just you. And the shaitan might tell you it's just you. Or you're beyond redemption, you're beyond tawbah. Absolutely not. Never give up on the mercy of Allah. Never give up on the mercy of Allah. And don't give up on yourself. Allah created you, He knows who He created. Allah has the picture and we have the pixel. We have a short window of life, give it your 100%. Every time you make a mistake, every time you sin, which is every day, ask Allah for forgiveness so that inshallah you'll be raised up on the day of judgment sinless. Yes, it's possible. You can have a clean slate. It's because you constantly made tawbah, not because you were perfect. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahi alhamd. Change might be slow, progress might be slow, but it's there nonetheless. Change will come.